All right, hello everybody, and welcome to the UND Formula SAE Collegiate Design Team Webinar. Let's just get right into it. So just a basic introduction of the presenters today. My name is Alex Swanson. I'm the president of the UND Formula SAE team. I am from Bemidji, Minnesota. I'm a mechanical engineering senior. And this summer I'll be returning to Team Industries to continue my internship. And then from there, this fall, I'll be going to the University of Michigan Dearborn for a master's in automotive systems engineering.
And my name's Corbin Goodrow. I'm the vice president on the team this year, but I also serve as the engine and drivetrain team lead. I'm from Farmington, Minnesota, which is kind of the southernmost suburb of the Twin Cities area, as I'm sure you all know. I'm also a mechanical engineering junior this year, so I'm planning on graduating next spring with a degree in mechanical engineering. And I will also be the president for next year's team. I'm the president-elect right now, so I hope to be seeing you guys a lot more in the years to come.
All right, so getting directly into the topics here, just doing some basic score analysis. We early on determined that 17 and 18 were fairly successful in their own rights. They were roughly middle of the pack, 32 and 32nd at Lincoln. And then unfortunately in 2019, we had a couple mechanical failures that prevented us from scoring highly. Our endurance event was not complete, thus the kind of drop in score. And so early on, we analyzed that reliability was a huge thing for us, and making sure we're rules compliant from the get-go, so we can fly through the technical inspection process and just go directly to competition. So regardless of its downfalls, the 2019 vehicle architecture was a huge leap forward in terms of vehicle capability. We did drop roughly 100 pounds between UND 18 and UND 19, as the photos show there. And again, we just had a couple of reliability issues to work out, as well as some optimizations to make. So the last year's team that created UND 20 started out and with the same architecture in mind. They just made some tweaks and some reliability improvements. And they really put a high emphasis on testing and validation. That was their big thing. That's what they wanted to accomplish. And we're continuing that this year, as well as it's kind of our team philosophy that if we do the dynamic events right, like really do our research, really engineer all of our systems adequately, the static, specifically the design event performance will come with. Like you don't start out by trying to score high in the design event. You start out by trying to make a great car, and that will thus make you score high in the static events. So moving into our action plan, how are we going to accomplish our improved reliability, our improved score? That's essentially going to be through increasing testing time and increasing what we want to do, improving the procedures in that system. And that is more quantification. That's more driver training and more just general hours on the car, so we can iron out some of the issues. And something to help us with that is a onboard data acquisition system, which is new for 2020, that will help us quantify performance of both the vehicle as well as the driver. So we'll be able to tell per driver who's pulling the most G's in the corners, who's shifting correctly, etc. It's just a really good way to analyze the performance, again, both the car and the driver. And unfortunately, COVID-19 restrictions have greatly increased the timeline of the car. Even in 2021, we're kind of stretching things out just because of how things are working out with distance learning and with kind of an increased latency between some of our sponsors and ourselves. And UND 2022 is something we began developing in the spring here. It is designed to be another huge leap forwards in capability. So it's kind of like that 2019 car where we're kind of throwing everything away and starting brand new. And we're using some of that data that we're gathering from the operation of UND 20 to fine tune the designs and the assumptions of UND 2022. And that's something we really hope we can push forward into the future. We want every car to be able to give us a little bit of insight, give us a little bit of data, and give us that feedback in the design of the next car.
So as Alex kind of talked about, there have been some obvious obstacles that have come up due to COVID-19. A little bit of backstory for you guys. Our team last year, our campus got shut down in about early March. So it was right before the spring break time. And at that point, we lost complete access to our shop. So that meant that we couldn't take the car that we were currently working on building to compete in Michigan in May. We could no longer finish that car or take it to competition, of course. So those events kind of led into our decision this year to take that car, finish it, do a lot more testing and validation of it, and then plan on taking it to Michigan this May, which of course the date's a little bit sketchy right now, but we still plan to race it, and we still are very confident we'll be able to race it this year. So as I kind of said, that low on-campus participation has been the hardest part, just not being able to have as many people in the shop to get hands-on with the car. Building a race car, of course, as you all know, is a very hands-on process, and a lot of troubleshooting and just technical work goes into that process. So one of the biggest challenges there is having to try to work alongside the people who are online and may not have the ability to come in to actually work in the shop. Along with that, the funding and scheduling uncertainty, along with the sponsor and supplier uncertainty, has led us to sometimes not always know where our money is going to come from for this year, or know where we stand in terms of what sponsors are able to provide us or how much they're able to give. Of course, everybody's trying to be really open with communication and very understanding, but it's just kind of the nature of the situation. So we've had to work on a little bit of that this year. Effective file sharing, trying to integrate between the on-campus and off-campus, and just as a team in general, has been something we've had to come up with this year, just finding a way where we can share all of our files together and have everybody on the same page. Being able to go through design reviews and be able to collaborate together as engineers. Of course, this is something that everybody, not only in the academic world, but the industry world is having to deal with. Not being able to be in person, of course, is sometimes a bit of a detriment to that design review process. But we are trying to find some ways to try to go around that and still make our most productive design as possible. Then, of course, on-campus shop access is something that's always kind of been up in the air this year. That kind of leads along with the troubleshooting and assembly. That shop access is required for us to be able to do a lot of that troubleshooting and assembly. But then kind of some of the highlights of what we have been able to accomplish this year is we have been able to excel at the file sharing and meeting software capabilities of our team. We almost exclusively use Microsoft Teams for many file sharing and then also meetings. This allows us to have everybody in the same page, allows us to have virtually, I'm not sure if it's unlimited, I suppose, but for our large team, it allows us to have as many people as we need to be on the meeting. It allows everybody to have the files shared on an online server, but then also brought onto their computer remotely through the OneDrive file sharing system. This means that everybody can have a little bit easier access to things like CAD files, simulation files, documents, research materials, without having to go from kind of a browser online platform. Everything can be a little bit more localized on the computer. Having an advanced timeline for our supply chain has, of course, been very necessary this time of year. Being able to make sure that, well, we still need to take the correct amount of time to design everything. We also have to have some flexibility and know that sometimes suppliers aren't going to be able to get us things as soon as we want them to. So preparing for that has been very critical. Constant communication with university and SAE representatives, both making sure that with people like SAE Twin Cities that we can make sure that we are constantly on track of when events are and what we can do to help with events. Of course, everybody's trying to be as open as possible, but also trying to communicate with university to understand travel restrictions, what we need from them to make sure that we're still being safe on campus and that we can still continue to do the things that we want to do, as well as just understanding where our funding's coming from too. While we do have quite a bit of private sponsorship, a large portion is through the university also. So that constant communication has been very critical. It's something we've done a very good job of, I think, this year, of being one of the organizations that is a lot more on track with communicating within the university. Utilizing the on-campus hands that we have and the off-campus minds, not taking the off-campus students that we have as a liability or something that can't be utilized. Really trying to take their specialties and they can contribute just as much to the design as an on-campus person can. Something that's been a little bit less focused on in previous years that we've had to focus on this year. And I think we've done a very good job of is integrating that off-campus work with the on-campus students. And then also one of the great things that we have as a team is we have had very good access to our shop throughout the entire year this year. Of course, UND has always been able to take as many precautions as they can to make sure that we're safe, but we've also been able to have quite a bit of access whenever we need to come in and troubleshoot something on the car or assemble something, as well as giving prospective student tours to students who are looking to come into the university this next year. It's been very good for us to develop as a team using those. And then a couple of the resources that I would like to point out that we've had good access to. Of course, shop access, I just talked a lot about that, but also welding services through Lunseth. It's a company that's local to Grand Forks here and kind of the eastern North Dakota region. Being able to have them come up and give us a little bit of help with some welding is very valuable to us as students who don't always have the greatest ability or expertise in that area, as well as manufacturing expertise with some of our other sponsors, having some advice and some help along the way when it comes to just understanding how to manufacture different components and what's going to work and what's not going to work. I would like to point out that the Alaire Center also has been very supportive of us and very willing to work with us in terms of providing driving locations for us. We like to use their parking lot for a lot of our testing, and they've been very receptive to it and very allowing of us to use that. And we're very grateful for that. Simulation tools as well, SolidWorks, Star CCM, GT Suite, Adams Cart, ANSYS. These are all programs that can be somewhat common in the industry and academic world, but are very hard for students to sometimes get into. So allowing us to have those resources as students to try to work to improve our designs and try to understand maybe what our design is doing a little bit more, being that we can't maybe have as much on campus hands-on time has been very valuable for us. And then lastly, funding through SOFA, which is the student organization for funding agency. It's a university-run program that provides quite a bit of good funding for us. The University, the College of Engineering and Mines, and just the UND Mechanical Engineering Department, as well as our private sponsors. Can't thank them more for how much work they do for us and how much support they've given us throughout this entire process. That's been very hard on everybody.
Sure, yeah, and just kind of adding on that, Corbin, we've had a really interesting makeup of the team this year. Traditionally, we have the vast majority of students on campus, where there's maybe 2 or 3 distance students, where in previous years, they might have not had the best communication with the team. This year, it's been very integrated. Like every meeting's been on Microsoft Teams. We've been talking back and forth as much as we possibly can with the distance students, and it's been really good. So just kind of a breakdown of what we've got going on. We have 18 on-campus students that comprised of, again, 5 team leads, 7 senior design members, and 6 underclassmen helping us out. We really like to see them underclassmen be involved in the team, as well as on our off-campus, we've got 10 students that are online and 2 team leads, 7 senior design members, and 1 underclassman from a distance. And it's really interesting to see how team members step up to include everybody, if you're on campus, if you aren't, in the conversation, because it's engineering doesn't happen alone. It's always meetings, it's always collaboration, and it's really cool to see the integration between the types of students. And fortunately, we did have a fairly seamless transition once we went online because of COVID-19 last spring. Again, we were already set up with the Microsoft Teams server. We just didn't use it quite as extensively, so we had a fairly smooth transition. And something other that is interesting is we normally have a very high kind of foot traffic around our shop. We're located right in the kind of the heart of the engineering shops. There's a lot of eyes that see a race car and are curious, which is understandable. So they'll kind of stop by, ask questions, and join the team. That's how a lot of us got started. But because of COVID, there's really not that many people in the shops and going around the classrooms. There's a lot of classes that are online. So we're looking for other avenues to really advertise to our student body. And we're hoping to have a little bit more impactful online recruitment events to kind of make sure the students know what programs are out there. And we have an excellent robotics team as well as a formula team. We just want to make sure all of our students are as active on campus as they want to be. And then here is just a kind of a short list of our graduating team members. There is quite a lot of them here, and to be honest, we're sad to see them go, because we've seen them develop a lot of technology, hone their engineering skills, and again, we're going to miss them on the team, but it gives an opportunity for the underclassmen to step up and do more than engineering. So just a couple examples of people that have been doing some work here. We've got Alex, who's been doing some really good calculations and routing for the coolant system on the engine, where we're trying to keep that engine within operating temperature in a racing environment. It's not the easiest thing to do, so he's been doing a great job there. We've got Henry, who's been designing the hubs and uprights for the new car UND 2022. That's going very well. We like his help. And Christian is one of our distance team leads. He's been doing an excellent job running the aerodynamics team, as well as he's been doing some really groundbreaking research for the rear wing and some simulation methods. And we're really proud of all the members. And if you have any opportunities where you're looking for a full-time engineer or a intern, we'd really like you to reach out to our student team email there. We'd be more than happy to answer any questions or network with some of these gentlemen to get you the employees you're looking for. Or if you just want to ask us any questions, please feel free. But I think that's about it. So thank you for your time, and we will talk to you later.